This is not going to be for everybody, and it is take it back to the Lord in prayer. It's about a season in life where if you are somebody who is waiting on your person, kingdom spouse type energy, and I'm going to give you a layout of what this looks like, okay? This would be somebody who runs away from taking accountability and maybe was raised in a way where they were taught to run. They might have mommy issues. They might have, oh man, let me get a better way of I don't know how to talk about this. This is, God has given me the words, but saying it out loud, it's like, I know it's brutal, and I just need to let you guys grow up. I know that sounds so bad, but listen. If you are dealing with a Jacob situation, your responsibility is not to sit here and talk about how bad this person is. They never take accountability. They're with Leah. They're doing this. They're doing that. Blah, 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 blah. Rachel's responsibility while she was waiting for her husband was to be readily available when her husband knew the voice of God, meaning that God had to win over Jacob on his own because Jacob was raised in a way to trust the leading of his parents that led him to believing that he made too big of mistakes to ever come back, believing that he had self-worth issues. He had things where he felt like he needed to work so hard to be able to be welcomed back in, and God had to break that off of him. And God put him with Leah before he put him with Rachel so that there was things that he could, learn through that situation. It was not because Rachel was so bad. It was not because Leah was so bad. It was not because Jacob was so bad. He had to learn the customs of his father by seeing what was not of the promise before he could see what was of the promise. He came into agreement with things that were not for him because he did not have knowledge. And while Rachel was waiting, her responsibility was to detach from familial ties, meaning that we as women would go through, the ones who were waiting, would go through a process of having our own generational ties, soul ties, things that we've carried with us before we were given to our husbands, removed from us, removed from ourselves, as well as breaking down any idols, including the self. So if you're operating in self-righteousness, or you're looking at it just thinking you're just waiting on this guy to get it together, like God's just going to wake up this guy and that's the whole purpose and that's what it is, there is an entire sanctification process that you are called to walk in so that when that person is ready and can hear from God, you are not attached to anything that would prevent you from moving forward in the time that God has set for you. If the enemy can actively distract you into thinking that the enemy is something that it's not, like you think it's a physical person rather than just generational and spiritual things, then he will keep you effectively distracted so that during your wait you will not be ready, and when that person is ready, you will still have a process to go through and it will delay. I'm gonna get on a live and I'm gonna talk deeper about this. What you learn in your wait and how you put your focus is going to prepare you for the time when your person is released to you. A lot of my clients are seeing things like this where they're being corrected in their wait to stop focusing on the timing and stop focusing on that person's life and stop looking altogether. Quit with the unblocking and blocking and looking on the things and pretending like you're not, and hyper fixating on what's going on in their lives. There is a personal journey that you're supposed to go through first. There is a personal journey that you are supposed to go through first. If God cannot transform you into the person that you are meant to be, then how can he do it to your husband? God hates double standards. He detests double standards. And so if you are somebody who is living in an illusion version of your own life, and you are seeing that your person is in a counterfeit version of his life, just because theirs involves another person doesn't mean that it's not the same exact experience. When Jacob fled from Esau, the one that he betrayed, he fled from Esau, and when they reconnected, Esau had received so much grace from the Lord that he was able to receive Jacob back with grace. He didn't, make him beg for it. He didn't do all that stuff because he was focused on his own journey with the Lord. That was how, Esau ended up serving Jacob, was by extending grace that would set him free from the burden that he carried, knowing that he had betrayed him. This is a huge journey of grace. It is not a journey of I'm right, you're wrong, I'm the one of the promise and that girl's not. It is not a competition. And if you're thinking that you're better than somebody, you are operating in some form of self-righteousness. It is imperative that you surrender to your process. Your process. And, you know, it's not from a place of condemnation. I'm just saying that the Lord is reminding me, and I'm only speaking this because I lived it. You know what I'm saying? He's not going to put anybody that doesn't have the authority to speak on it from experience, right? Like we've already endured through that season. You will make it through. But I just encourage you to seek deeper understanding. If you want to, you know, seek out mentorship or coaching through it, I am available for one-on-ones, and I have an LTASH community that goes through the entire process that I went through. But their illusion and counterfeit life will not break down until yours does. Meaning the parts of you that cannot stay must go. Okay? I love you. And I look like I'm literally getting ready to go to jail. I look like Dr. Evil. Me. I literally, this is crazy. But you know what? Sometimes it just really be like that. There's actually one more part that the Lord did put on my heart that I want to make sure that I put in this video for anybody who's made it this far. Then I know that you have to be connected to the storyline, because if you made it this far, we're best friends now. You just saw me as Dr. Evil. Your friendships during this season matter. Any voice that is trying to keep you focused on what you see in the physical when the Lord is trying to call you into the spirit is a distraction, and they would be considered a toxic friendship. And when you are believing for your person to separate from people that are encouraging them to stay in a toxic state of mind or to stay in an illusionary lifestyle, you have to discern the kind of people that you are allowing into your ear gates as well. It is imperative that you keep your journey between you and God and those that He, by His voice, has confirmed to you is a safe place for you to bring your dreams, for you to bring your story, for you to bring, because standing in agreement with people who are standing in agreement in faith for what God is speaking over your life is imperative. It is so important for you to make sure that you are not telling your story and constantly venting to people who do not see what you see, that do not see what God said, because those are people who are actively working as King Herods in the spiritual realm, monitoring spirits that do not have faith, and because of the lack in their own faith, like something may have happened that has, you know, made them not believe, or they have wounds that made them cynical or whatever and whatnot. Your conversation with those people matters. And it's not that they're bad people. They're not. It's, you know, it's just about standing in agreement with truth. And at this point, you know, everyone that has their eyes on your journey also has a prayer life. And what they truly feel in their heart about it is what is being read. So you can be talking to people that are saying, yeah, you can always come to me. But in their heart, they're saying, this isn't real. This isn't real. You should really stop caring. You should stop waiting. I don't think that this is for you. Deserve better. They don't know what God has planned, and God is not going to tell them either. He's going to talk to you about it, and He's trying to give you an increased faith that would not waver or crash out every time that something doesn't look right. He wants to teach you His ways so that you can actually see when things don't look right, and then see where He is in it, so you wouldn't have like fear around it. That's the character of God. I forgot to put mascara on before I took this out, and that's really frustrating. This outfit can't be it. The whole day is just not gonna be this outfit. It can't be. What is going on? But yeah, so the friends that you choose to talk to, the mentorship that you receive, the people, like if God is trying to build you into a system where you have so much faith that it is unshakable, everywhere in the Bible, what does it say whenever somebody brings somebody to the feet of Jesus, or they come to Him about healing somebody or releasing them of their demons or whatever it is that is the case of your situation, because everyone's is different, by your faith, that person has been healed. You cannot actively be an effective intercessor if you have cracks in your faith, because of the people that are talking to you, because of the people that you are venting to, because of your lack of knowledge. And so I encourage anybody that is on this stand to evaluate and discern who they are spending their time pouring their story into. Do not go. And I mean, there were people that I just couldn't, my family, you can't talk to people who do not hear God and have faith in what they hear, or that God has not, and they might also be in their processes, which is 100% okay. But remember, even Saul prophesied, okay? Just because they have the presence of gifts does not mean that they are refined in their gifts, or that they are not operating in a self-righteousness. And do not be led by those that are being cynical or operating in self-righteousness, because if that is the case, then you will be led astray, just like the Israelites were when Saul was their leader, because they wanted somebody to relate to. They wanted somebody who would lead them. They sought out a leader for themselves, so God gave them Saul. He chose David, and so he will choose somebody. If you need somebody, if you need help, he'll send you in destiny helpers. But be discerning of the character of the people that you are taking advice from. Be discerning of the character of people that you are sharing your story with. Be discerning of the way that you are met with advice. If people are telling you to give up, but you've heard God say stand, separate your spiritual journey from those people. There's the story of the 10 bridesmaids, the 10 virgins. They were all walking together. 5 of them waited foolishly and didn't focus on their oil. 5 of them waited wisely, and when the Lord came to open up that door, the 5 that waited wisely, they walked through the door. You cannot be made responsible for someone else's journey. Do not tie yourself to somebody so closely that you feel responsible for them, or they feel responsible for you, and you are trauma bonding with somebody based on a hurt or a wound. We each are individually responsible for focusing on our own oil, and none of our oil is the same, because it all comes from the crushing that we endure individually and what God is speaking to us about who we are individually. We operate as a body together. We can walk together, but you should be raising each other up in each other's like individual anointing. And if somebody is overbearing and it feels like a toxic friendship, again, the Lord gave this all to me in a dream last night, telling me that this is what his people that are anointed to hear what I am saying out of my mouth, that this is what the subject is of the day. So I will get live on this, and I will start talking about things and going through some wisdom, knowledge, and curriculum I have about this. But if you are interested in booking a one-on-one, or you want to join the LTASH course where we help to build each other up in our individual anointings and walk through a sanctification process, and we have like Zoom meetings and things that we are going over specific parts of our journeys, do little webinars and things like that. That is a community that is available to those that have kingdom keys for it. Ask the Lord, and he will lead you and guide you into the places that you should go. But I hope that this helps those that needed it. I look like crazy. Let me just show you the whole outfit. I thought it would be cute, but it looks like a lunch lady. So I love you guys. Bye. For the sake of reputation, I just needed to show you guys that I changed my outfit and I no longer look like whatever that was. But anyways, I hope you guys have a great day. I love you.